Well, that year was quite the roller coaster ride, wasn't it? And do you want to know what it was like to me? Well, I'll just play this video I found on YouTube to show you what I mean. Yeah, it's something regarding a cuss word and I don't want to delve into it. And it's obvious that it starts with the letter F. And I'm getting tired of hearing it. I think it's overused the way I see it. 2023 is over and now we're in 2024, the 5th year of a 2020 decade. And it's time that I tell you, my viewers and subscribers, what I've been doing that year. What stuff I've been watching and what new things, well, not really new things per se, but new things that I experienced. So for starters, there was a franchise that I've been into for a long time ever since I was a kid, but yet I just stopped halfway through when I started at the first half of a series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers! Yeah, I know, it's the Power Rangers, they're very cool. So apparently, in that year, the Power Rangers franchise was celebrating its 30th anniversary and I wanted to see how the series has evolved over the years. For my experience with the franchise, I know it very well. My sister said that her first exposure to the series was Power Rangers SPD when it aired on CITV. But to me, I thought it was Operation Overdrive as there was an overabundance of merchandise everywhere, from Argos catalogues and even in some shops like Morrison's or Tesco where they've got toys. I even had a DVD of the show that my brother had for his birthday, containing the first few episodes of that series. There were even more Power Rangers seasons that I thankfully experienced, such as Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, Wild Force, Mighty Morphin, Jungle Fury, and later when 11-year-old me got into the internet, I discovered there were plenty of different seasons, each of them having different themes and styles and whatnot. And I just straight up became a massive fan, despite me watching a few episodes of the seasons. But that wasn't until in 2014, where Netflix had all of the seasons and I only watched a few of them, such as Time Force, Wild Force, Jungle Fury, and the then recent Mega Force at the time. And the first episode of Zeo by the time of editing this video, as I forgot that I even watched it. Years later, when my fanboy status of the series showed very little of, and I watched the 2017 movie by Dean Israelite with my sister, and it was just too dark and intense for my tastes. Even as the movie didn't perform well at the box office. Then, years later, again when my interest of a franchise had been sidelined to other things, and that at the start of last year, I decided to recap the entire Power Rangers franchise for its 30th anniversary, as I was huge into it ever since my childhood. I went through it starting with Mighty Morphin, then during the first few episodes of Season 3, I stopped. Because the yelling was too much for me to handle. And I think it's mostly from Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. And I thought it was the same case as Doctor Who, where I binge-watched the 2005 revival for the franchise's 50th anniversary back then. And much like what I mentioned, I stopped at halfway through the 3rd season as the yelling was too intense for me to handle that I stopped. There, I said it. Do you understand me now? I originally recapped the series in the same vein I did with a Pokemon anime from early 2016 to late 2018 and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic in 2019. And yet so far, my binge-watching experience of the series lasted about nearly 4 months as opposed to Pokemon and MLP, where I watched the former for about 2.5 years and the latter for 7.5 months. And I only watched Doctor Who for about, a month? With only 31 episodes I've recapped as opposed to the other 3 where I've gone over 100 episodes? And poor me didn't reach that record when I decided to rewatch the 2005 revival again. So, I cancelled out my recap of the Power Rangers franchise halfway through as I've gotten tired of the yelling scaring me that I just thought, you know, I can't take all this yelling anymore. It's time that I just call it quits and be done with the franchise. So there. However, the other thing that I've been into also stems from what I've been into since my childhood. It's from Disney, and I've experienced a lot of what it had when I was a kid, and as of now, that other thing is a character who is in the public domain and can be used by anyone. I'm of course talking about that willy-nilly silly old bear, Winnie the Pooh. So, that year, I decided to watch some of Winnie the Pooh's movies and specials on Disney Plus and some sources that don't have the stuff on the former as I felt like seeing what material Pooh has. And as for my experience with that bear, yep, I do remember seeing the stuff Pooh has. Whether it's the books not by A.A. Milne or some of the shows I watched on TV. The only ones I can remember are the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, where the only episode I can recall watching is Party Pooper, where it's about Rabbit's relatives coming to his party and stuff. And I do recall watching the Book of Pooh when it was on the milkshake block. Does anyone remember that? So other than that, I do remember watching some of the movies when they aired on TV, and I'll list some of them when I get to the Disney Plus part. Which I am doing it now. In summer of last year, I went to most of the Winnie the Pooh content on Disney Plus, and the order of the movies goes like this. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I never watched the movie fully in my whole life, but I can get from what the story is about. Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree has Pooh getting stuck in Rabbit's passageway of his house, Blustery Day has a storm going on around the 100-acre wood, and Tigger too, no title drop intended, has Tigger bouncing around that he causes too much trouble for the residents of 100-acre wood, even Rabbit who has quite enough. Pooh's Grand Adventure, The Search for Christopher Robin, which I thankfully saw on TV, the Tigger movie, which I also saw on TV, Piglet's Big Movie, where I watched it in 3 ways with that movie. First was when it was on TV, the second was on some website where you can watch movies online, and the third was on Netflix in early of 2015 as far as I can recall. Pooh's Heffalump Movie, which I unfortunately never saw as a kid, but I saw a teaser trailer of it in French on some Disney DVDs, and even a book of a film in French, and the 2011 movie, also on TV. I even watched some of the Halloween and Christmas specials to go along with the occasions. I watched Boo to You 2, Winnie the Pooh twice, once on its own and the second when it was featured in Pooh's Heffalump Halloween movie. I did the same with Winnie the Pooh and Christmas 2, where I watched it on its own the first time and the second when it was in A Very Merry Pooh Year. I don't know how I would rank these movies, but I'll just give in on how I see them in my opinion. In first place is the Tigger movie, because of how it goes in depth with Tigger and how he deals with the fact he's the only Tigger in existence. Second place is Pooh's Grand Adventure, because it shows how Pooh cares so much about his friend Christopher Robin when he tries to find him, and how insecure he is when he misses him. Third place is, I don't know, the 2011 movie where it's got this iconic scene.
Tie them together, Piglet. Can you tie a knot?
I cannot.
Ah, so you cannot.
No, I cannot not.
Not?
Who's there?
Pooh?
Pooh who?
No, Pooh. Piglet, you'll need more than 2 knots.
Not possible.
Ah, so it is possible to knot those pieces.
Not these pieces.
Yes, not those pieces.
Why not?
'Cause it's all for naught.
No wonder that became a meme. Just as how Pooh himself is a subject of memes on the internet. And yeah, those are the 2 major things that I did in 2023, revisiting some of the stuff I watched in my childhood. And other than watching movies and shows like the Super Mario Bros. Movie and the second season of Sonic Prime, and playing games such as Sonic Origins Plus, which I got for my birthday, and Sonic Superstars and Super Mario Bros. Wonder for Christmas, there's not a whole new thing that I've gotten into. And when I think about it, I've been into Sonic big time ever since 2020, as between 2016 and that year, my interest of it had been sidelined in favor of other things, but I still showed it from time to time. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Sonic, I really do. But as of now, I thought that I'm becoming too much into that franchise and that no other thing would take over my fanboy status. Well, now that you mention it, it's this year that another popular franchise from my childhood experience is celebrating its anniversary. And it's someone that I have known for a long, long time. It's someone who lives in a pineapple under the sea, it's SpongeBob. Yup, who else wouldn't it be, as it's one of the most popular and influential cartoons of all time. So, for this year, I'm gonna be looking into the entire SpongeBob series, where I'll be watching through the seasons and movies, as it will be celebrating its 25th anniversary. And considering that this sponge is Nickelodeon's current cash cow, it looks like there's a whole lot of ground for me to dig deep into. And on the subjects of cartoons, I've also been thinking of doing some drawings in my spare time. Whether it be from animated shows, movies, games, or something I'm very familiar with. I'm gonna draw them on pixel art and maybe even upload them to DeviantArt if I feel like it. So, I'm hoping that this year will be better than what I experienced last year, as I don't want anything that I'm tired of. As always, but I don't say this often, this is NinHitFan2000 signing out, and I wish myself a good 2024. Oh yeah, and be on the lookout for that video where I talk about that Thunderbirds VHS I loved when I was a kid.